Welcome, warrior. All right, we are reading Genesis chapter 46 today. I forgot to turn this on, and I've already walked 1.4 miles from reading Genesis chapter 45 from the previous one, and it was the best, right? Joseph and his brothers, and they have to go get Jacob. Anyway, okay, so now we're on Genesis chapter 46. Here's the chapter summary. The Lord sends Jacob and his family of 70 souls to Egypt. The descendants of Jacob are named. Joseph meets Jacob. Okay, so this is like the reunion of the century, besides meeting the brothers, right? Okay, so here we go. And Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto God of his father Isaac. Unto the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. Also, a lot of people back in the day had a lot of visions and a lot of dreams and things. I wonder what's happening with our dreams. Do we have dreams? Do we still have dreams? And what are happening with them? Like, is it because we have, I don't even remember the last time I had a dream. Is it because my mom always told me, or maybe it was my mom, maybe I just think this, but I always thought that if I dreamt of angels and things, I wasn't supposed to remember that, and because of the veil and whatever, and so that I dream of angels every night is what must be happening, right? That's like what I think. But I wonder if it's all these electronic devices that are making it so that we are not having these dreams, because our minds don't even have time to unplug, right? So anyway, let's just think about that for a second and think, how come people back then had a lot of dreams and how come we don't have a lot of dreams? And the only thing I can think of is A, they were prophets, okay? But B, or like Pharaoh, or B, it might be because we don't give it enough time to disconnect. We don't, and so who knows? I wonder if I went with a week without my phone, if I would have a dream, or if I would even remember it. So anyway, there's that. So anyway, so God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. Okay, so we know what was bothering Jacob because of the message / dream that he got from God, right? He's like, and it makes sense that Israel would be worried about this, right? Because this whole time it was all about their own land, and they had to move their people, and it was he had to take care of everybody and just making sure, and putting it in somebody else's hands or somebody else's property, right? Like when you rent, it's kind of like renting versus owning, right? It's like he's going to go down over there to Egypt to rent, right? Even though he probably didn't have to pay rent, it still wasn't his, right? And then versus the land that he owned. And so it was wait, I'm going to go down after working so hard to have land, and that was going to be my land, and we were going to do the thing building city, and that's what they did back then. It was we are in this land, and we're just going to either move from this land to another land that's ours, or we're going to keep this land and then we're going to make it flourish kind of thing. And so he was just worried about that, right? And it makes sense because he wasn't used to this, right? His family did not come from this. And so he was worried about it. And so I love that we're able to see what he worried about, because as a parent, we worry all the time. And so anyway, then verse 4, so we're just we're just like Israel, just like Jacob. And so verse 4, I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again, and Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle and their goods which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Egypt. And these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Okay, now, this is like going to be listed, all the names, and I'm going to butcher them because that's just what happens. That's what I do. And because I clearly don't know how to read. And I think it's interesting that they're listing all the names, right? It's just like one of those things that my grandpa would have done. And my grandpa was big on like family history and like genealogy and trying to know whose birthday it was this month for the entire family, you know, and he was just like so good at it, being so inclusive of everything and everyone. So this is what we're doing here. Okay, and these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and the sons of Reuben, Hanok and Phalu and Hezron and Carmi, and the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin, Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shaul, and the sons of Canaanitish women. The sons of a Canaanitish woman, and the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. It's like Ferrari, but Merari. And the sons of Judah, and Onan and Shelah and Pharez and Zerah, but Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Pharez were Hezron and Hamul, and the sons of Issachar, Tola and Phuvah and Job and Shimron, and the sons of Zebulun, Sered and Elon and Jaleel. And these be the sons of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob in Padanaram, which his daughter Dinah, all the souls of his sons and his daughters were 33. And the sons of Gad, Ziphion and Haggai, Shuni and Esbon, Eri and Erodai and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Jimnah and Ishua and Isui and Beriah and Sarah, their sister, and the sons of Beriah, Heber and Malchiel. And these are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter, and these she bare unto Jacob, even 16 souls. Whew. 16 peeps, huh? Hold on, let's see what time it is. Okay. The sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. Okay. And unto Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bare unto him. Potipharah? We don't know how to say that. Okay. And the sons of Benjamin were Bela and Becher and Ashbel, Jura and Naaman, Ehi and Rosh, Muppim. It's like a Muppet, but Muppim. And Huppim. Muppim and Huppim. Were they twins? I think they were twins. And Arad. These are the sons of Rachel, which were born to Jacob. All the souls were 14. Okay, and the sons of Dan, Hushim. And the sons of Naphtali, Jaziel and Guni, and Jezer and Shillem. These are the sons of Bilhah, which Laban gave unto Rachel his daughter, and she bare these unto Jacob. All the souls were 7. And the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons' wives, all the souls were 66. Okay. And the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70. And he sent Judah before him unto Joseph to direct his face unto Goshen, and they came into the land of Goshen. Okay, so Judah came early so that he could prepare stuff, right? Which I love. That makes sense. And Goshen made ready his chariot and Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to meet Israel his father to Goshen and present himself unto him. And he fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while, right? Because that makes sense. And Israel said unto Joseph, now let me die, since I have seen thy face, because thou art yet alive. Best day ever, right? And I love that. That is such a sweet reunion. And it kind of reminds me of when missionary mamas get to see their missionary come home. Regardless of how much time has passed, right? Like, after missionaries serve and they leave, or after they leave their families and then go serve and then come back, this is exactly like the scene that I imagine, and it's the scene that I've seen, right? And what's crazy is back in the day, they couldn't even talk to their mamas every week, It was like once a year for Christmas and once a year for Mother's Day. So I think it was like twice a year they got to talk to their mom. Imagine the reunion after that time, right? Like, would have been awesome. They only had letters. They only had like physical letters. They only had letters. Anyway, and so yeah, it was crazy. But now we get to talk to our kids when they go serve on like FaceTime or whatever, WhatsApp, FaceTime, whatever it is that we get to use. So it's going to be awesome for us because we'll get to use that phone system and like the technology to be able to talk to our children when they serve. So that's going to be awesome. Okay. Anyway, so the reunion, here we go. And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house. Of course, Joseph's probably like, no, you may not die. I just barely got to see you, right? And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh and say unto him, my brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. And the men are shepherds, for their trade hath been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, what is your occupation? That ye shall say, thy servant's trade hath been about cattle from our youth, even until now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. Okay, so he's trying to tell him, like, he's trying to prepare them, like, hey, this is what you're going to say. And we're going to call them cattle, okay, because shepherding is not a good thing that the Egyptians do not like. So I love that Joseph went out to meet his dad. And you might think, oh, how cute, he went to meet him. But I'm guessing this was what he was trying to also get to do, is like prepare him for what they needed to say, because it was not cool to say that they were shepherds, but it was cool if they said that they had raised cattle, right? So think about the difference between that, right? It's like cattle is like cows and horses and things like, bigger flock, whereas sheep are just sheep. They're like little, and not, I mean, granted, I know there's giant sheep out there, but like that, they're just not seen the same way as if you raised like cows and cattle and stuff. So they were trying, and since they had cattle, right, that's what they were trying to say. Like, let's just all say the word cattle and not use the word shepherd or sheep, okay? So that makes complete sense that he would have gone a little sooner, or would have gone earlier, to be able to help him with what to say and prepare them for that. So we get a list of Jacob's posterity in this chapter, and then there's a total of like 66 people or so after the families from the house of Jacob are listed. And then we learn that a number of the house of Jacob, excluding himself, was 66. A score is 20, so 60, and 6 rather plus 6 equals 66. And then in verse 27, the missing links of Joseph, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Jacob himself, this comes to a grand total of 70. So it's meaning 70, okay? So I love all this. Okay, so now Joseph and Jacob were reunited. Joseph arrived upon his chariot, presented himself to his father, of course, and it was like 20 years, right? An unspeakable grieving had separated his father from his son. So I'm trying to think of how old that means people were. So if it was 20 years, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, and now Israel, Jacob now felt his life complete, although he would still live a number of years. And good for that, because Joseph wanted to be with his dad, right? He wanted to be able to visit him and do stuff. So that was the thing. Okay, and our read it, live it is the same from chapter 45, which I will read again in case you missed it in chapter 45. So it's God did send me before you to preserve life. So Joseph saw the full arc of his story as things were coming together, and he was meeting his brothers, and then he met his dad, and everything was coming full circle. And it wasn't a tragedy, but it had purpose, right? Even the sorrow led to something good. Trust his process. So what kind of purpose can we have? Alexa, stop. I set myself reminders to drink water and read scriptures. Anyway, which is so nice. You got to set Alexa reminders. Anyway, so what purpose does your tragedy, does your sorrow have? When I went to when I went to BYU Women's Conference, there were some stories of sisters who had gone through unspeakable tragedy, just unspeakable, unimaginable, not cool tragedies, and they were sharing their testimony amongst all of that. And I just was thinking, man, those women are just so strong and courageous to take their tragedy and turn it into purpose, right? And now their purpose was to help other women with their faith as they go through similar trials. And just incredible, I can't even imagine, what they're going through, yet they can still stay with God throughout the process. Similar to Joseph's story, and it's just amazing to me. And so what is our story, and what is our tragedy that we can turn into purpose? What is our pain to purpose? What is that for us? Okay, until Genesis chapter 47, stay strong, warrior.